So we've almost finished the fourth chapter of this of race and ethnicity, and so far we've been introduced to the range of the types of conflicts that exists, about how ethnic diversity is created. Has it been created through conquest? Has it been created through annexation? Has it been created through slavery? Has it been created through voluntary migration? And we've seen some examples from around the world. And again, there's been some more references to some of the dynamics that have happened in America. And something that I'm sure you will be interested in doing is asking the relevance of these typologies, these schemes, these ways of understanding different forms, what the relevance of this to you in Thailand is. What is the relevance of Siamese expansion out of the Central Plains into Lana, into the north, into Isan, into Lao-speaking parts of mainland Southeast Asia, into southern Thailand, into the Malay-speaking parts. What is the relevance of this for you? And we will be talking a little about the dynamics of ethnic conflict in Thailand, although we have mentioned some of this in passing when we talked about the ethno-religious and ethno-linguistic diversity of Thailand. So let's go into full screen and we'll finish off this chapter. So, let's deal with types of interests. What are the interests that become bones of contention? Political interests are one of the major interests contributing to conflict. The tactics employed can range from the peaceful to the violent. As an example of the latter, a recent study of civil wars around the world since 1945 by the following writers sought to explain in what conditions armed struggles occurred. They discovered that violent conflicts are more likely in situations where one ethnic group controls the centre of power and substantial portions of the population are excluded from power because of their ethnic background. We've mentioned Horowitz's conception of ethnically ranked and unranked societies, ones that are stratified vis-a-vis ethnicity, and societies that are not stratified. Both societies are ethnically diverse, but class and access to power, access to economic development, access to employment, education, discrimination on the basis of language as well as ethnicity, discrimination on religion as well as ethnicity. So ethno-religious and ethno-linguistic discrimination, those do not exist on the right-hand side, but on the left there is a stratification. Ethnically diverse societies that are stratified, where there is a hierarchy. And so it is not a given that all ethnically diverse societies are stratified. There are ethnically diverse societies in the world where there is a lack of stratification, and this mitigates or minimalizes the likelihood of conflict occurring. A second type of interest revolves around economic interests. An example of competing interests can be seen in the case of tensions between black residents of inner city neighbourhoods in several American cities and Korean immigrant shopkeepers who own businesses in their neighbourhoods. In several incidences, blacks have organised boycotts and strikes of Korean businesses. The third type of interest is cultural. Examples of Black-Korean conflict actually combined both economic and cultural aspects. Part of the tension between the two groups had to do with cultural differences and a lack of intercultural awareness. From the perspective of many blacks, Korean merchants treated them with disrespect, while political and economic interests revolve chiefly around issues of redistribution. Cultural interests are primarily focused on issues of recognition and respect. Put another way, cultural interests are often expressed in terms of identity politics, and we've talked about that elsewhere in the course. Debates over official language policies are a rather widespread instance of culturally based conflicts. Demands have been made for elevating the status of minority group languages and for the larger society to assist in protecting the language in many countries. In the developed world, demands of French-speaking people in Quebec, Canada, about the role of the French language have defined Canada as officially bilingual. The language question can be found in places in Europe, including Spain, where both Catalan and Basque ethno-nationalists have sought to enhance the place of their languages in Catalan and Basque vis-a-vis Spanish. So, let's go out at full screen now, and we've covered a lot of ground. We've introduced you to a number of different concepts. It is natural, it is normal that when you read a short summary, a short introduction to a big topic, that you are introduced to words that you either are completely clueless about or that you think you might know what they mean, but you are going to have to do some work in solidifying what they mean. And this is when you need to begin to use all of the reference books that are available on the Google Drive. Introduction to Social Science. There are a number of introductions, a number of dictionaries of, encyclopedia of, on the Google Drive. And you will see that I have tagged some of the ebooks as reference books. And these are some of the ways that you will be able to isolate the books that are most relevant for you. If you find a reference book to be particularly useful, then my suggestion is that you consider downloading it and either putting it on your desktop or filing it away in your system, but then putting a shortcut to that particular reference book on your desktop. And so you can click on that, and that shortcut will take you to the file and it will automatically open. This is one of the ways that you can speed up being able to quickly, easily get access to high quality, recently published definitions. Now this is infinitely better than using Wikipedia and using Google. Sometimes we use that because we don't have access to anything. We use it just to check that we've spelt the word properly. But the best thing to do is to begin to be citing and interacting with books that we can cite in our essays, in our papers, in our chapters. So enough of this. We'll go on to another chapter soon. So it's been good being with you. Stay tuned.